This podcast is sponsored by the Fireman Moving Company. The Fireman Moving Company is the official moving company of WKU Athletics. Not only can they be trusted to move all the coaches in and out of Western, but they can move you anywhere nationwide. The Fireman Moving Company is owned and operated by firemen and is founded by WKU alumni. If you are looking to move sometime soon, give them a call at 270-791-1755 and get yourself a free quote. Welcome to Topper Talk, your number one Western Kentucky athletics podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Moffitt, and I'm joined by co-host Tyler Bailey. Hilltopper Nation, whether it's happening on the hill or on the road, grab those red towels, stand up and cheer, because it's up next on Topper Talk. All right, welcome back, and thank you for downloading and listening to another episode of the Topper Talk podcast. We are the official podcast of the Red Towel Trust Collective, and we're a proud member of the College Huddle podcast community. As always, make sure you're following us on all of our social media accounts and platforms. Head on over to our YouTube. Give us a subscription there. Make sure you're seeing when all these episodes drops and just keeping up with all the news and information we're putting out there. Got Tyler here with me, man, a little under the weather, but we're going to push through it, man. You ready to jump in?
I do have the flu. When I play sick, I'm Michael Jordan with the flu, in his flu game. But man, let's get into it.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you as always being here. Both of us a couple times have had to push through, and you're definitely going through it. And this flu this season ain't no joke. But the show must go on. The podcast must go on, and we're going to get it done. But I do appreciate Tyler, obviously, you being here and helping us get this done. But before we jump into the episode and talk about some basketball from this past weekend and the games we have coming up, we have to talk about our Red Towel Wrap-Up, which catches us up with all the athletic news that we've missed since we last recorded. And as always, is brought to us by Trent Bedding Company.
Don't forget your headboards, pillows, and your sheets. We got everything you need for a good night's sleep. Number one on the same check, best of Bowling Green. All right. Hey!
Twins, full, queen and king. Mattresses for anything. Come and pick it out and we can bring it to your house. Have you sleeping real good before the weekend's out. Trent Bedding. It's just like a mattress store. Hey.
All right, so we're coming in strong. WKU tennis lost to Austin P 4-3. Their match versus North Alabama was canceled. WKU baseball pitcher Cal Higgins and Lucas Luttrell were added to the Stoppers of the Year watch list.
Yeah, the tennis team, they did get to play. It's been a while now. I think it was right after we recorded last time. They played Austin P and lost 4-3. That was a battle. Then we had the flood come through Bowling Green and canceled a game with North Alabama, and I think they had another one that was canceled because of the snow. So they've not got to get on the court in a while. And then WKU baseball, Cal Higgins and Lucas Luttrell, being on the Stopper of the Year watch list. I mean, that's an awesome honor for them. The baseball team obviously had a strong start to their season. We'll talk about them in a minute, but that is just great recognition for them.
WKU baseball doubleheader versus Illinois State. One game 1 9-7, one game 2 4-3.
Yeah, a strong start for the baseball team. It was supposed to be a 4-game series there with Illinois State this past weekend, but the weather had other plans. The third and fourth games of that series were pushed back because of the downpour of rain we had last weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Then they end up just canceling those games. But they got game 1 and game 2 completed. WKU won close in game 1 and then had an epic walk-off comeback win in game 2. And they also had 21 strikeouts as a pitching staff in that second game, which was the first time since 2005 they had hit that number. So a really impressive showing by our pitching staff to keep us in that game and let us come back and get that victory. So heck of a start for the baseball team this year.
WKU baseball announced the signing of outfielder Tui Amosa.
Yeah, so signings continue. We talked about a lot of baseball ones and some other sports, but or football and some other sports rather. But baseball getting a signing, a 26 commitment So Tui Amosa, I have to trust, all the talent that Mark Rarden brings to the Hill, to WKU. I think he's currently a JUCO kid playing at Ranger College when I looked at his profile and some of his stats. So, just somebody that already is in the college game, in the college system. And I expect when he gets here next year, he'll be ready to step in and contribute from day one. So welcome to the Hill, Tui.
Now, we still talking about commitments, but we're going to move to a different sport. WKU football got their first class of 2026 commitment from QB Cam O'Hara from Union, Kentucky.
Yeah, that's a big one. I guess some local people know of Cam O'Hara because he had played Bowling Green High School and Deuce Bailey and a couple times in the state playoffs the last couple of years, and Deuce had come out on top, and we never offered Deuce, and there was some, whatever. There's some chatter about why we never offered him, and I don't know. I'm not the staff, but I do know that the staff is really excited about this quarterback. He's the number 41 quarterback nationally in the nation. Like, that's huge. That is a big time recruit in the state of Kentucky choosing to come to WKU. Obviously we don't know what next year is going to bring because he's not a 25 graduate, he's a 26 graduate. So it'll be a couple seasons before we see him on the Hill, and then obviously you expect when he get here he's going to redshirt. So it's going to be a few years before we probably see him on the field and competing for some repetitions. But man, if we keep who we have together now, if you keep Helton and his offense, offensive coordinator Bowie, that kid can sling it. I'm really excited for that commitment and look forward to all the rest for 26.
Now we're going to be moving in WKU softball. This past week they played Southeastern Missouri and beat them 6-1. Then they went and played Eastern Missouri and beat them 10-0. Then they had rematch against Eastern Illinois, beat them 2-0. Then they went on and played Troy, and they won that game 6-5. And then they played Alabama State, and they won that game 10-2.
Yeah, 5-0 on the weekend this past weekend. So, that's the definition of tops win. You win, we lit, baby. They had a nice bounce back tournament. Their previous weekend, they kind of got off to a rough start, only had one win in the 4 games, but just came back and really had an impressive showing. 5-0. I will definitely take that. Congratulations to the softball ladies.
All right, now we got some awards that were given out. Softball pitcher Raylan Smith named Conference USA Pitcher of the Week.
Yeah, awesome recognition for her. Obviously going 5-0 on the week. We obviously had several players that contributed, but Raylan, the Tennessee native, posted an impressive .84 ERA over 10.2 innings of work and only allowed 1 earned run over the weekend. So big time congratulations and well-deserved to Raylan.
And then we got another one, infielder Macy Greger named Conference USA Freshman of the Week.
Yeah, another one. We'll take all the awards of the week. Macy had a breakout performance for WKU this past weekend. The Minnesota native posted a .500 batting average. She was 6 out of 12 over the 5 games and had 4 RBIs on the weekend. So definitely congratulations to Ryland and Macy for those awards.
Lady Toppers basketball lost to MTSU 73-63.
Yeah, 100 Miles of Hate was not kind to us this past weekend. Obviously, we'll talk about the men's side of it more, but the women went to Murfreesboro and had to rematch with them. Obviously, we know that they were able to beat MTSU earlier this season and break, a long conference winning streak that they had, and now Middles, started on a new winning streak. We went down there. We were competitive and in this ball game. But the MTSU was able to pull away and win that game late. So tough break for the Lady Toppers, but man, still really encouraged by the brand of basketball and the style and just how good they're playing this year. I think they can definitely make some noise in the conference tournament in Huntsville.
WKU football big red uniform and helmet combo were added to display at the College Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that was pretty cool when I saw that come across the timeline yesterday. The fact that, that whole uniform, the red top, red bottom, the WKU red helmet with the big red eyes. Like that was just really cool to see the recognition, for our equipment staff and our football staff. Just having a lot of creativity. Just we've seen things they've done over the past couple of years. The position specific big reds, and now the big red eyes. Just always good stuff coming out of our equipment room, and really glad to see them get that recognition.
All right, now we got WKU men's golf at the Mesquite Desert Classic. Trevor Drew's fourth place with at 7 under. Rafi Blankenship, he's tied for 10th at 3 under. Stephen Warren and Nick Hoffman tied for 24th. And team finished 7th place at 7 over.
Yeah, I don't know what I did with Nick Hoffman and them tied for 24th. I don't know. I don't remember. I think they were +3. If I'm going off my memory, I think they were +3 strokes. So my apologies to Stephen and Nick. But yeah, the men's golf season kicked off. 7th place finish in a competitive field. A couple of newcomers, Trevor Drew and Rafe Blankenship, leading the way. So definitely looking forward to this season. I think we've got a good squad that can be definitely competitive in Conference USA.
Now we got the WKU Track and Field Bulldog Invite. In total, 20 Hilltoppers finished with a new personal best after all the events of the day were tallied. WKU finished the day off with 6 first-place finishers, including 5 for the men's and 1 for the women's. Coming off as Conference USA Track Athlete of the Week honors, Kinley Kunkel set a personal best in the 5,000-meter race, finishing in 17 minutes and 10 seconds. Her time is also a new record for the Bulldog Invite meet. In the men's 800, all 4 Hilltoppers that competed set a new personal record. They were led by Wade Balcom, who took first place and finished in 1 minute 53 seconds. In the women's event, freshman Sophia Witt set a personal record, finished in 2 minutes 21, good for a 7th place finish. For the second consecutive meet, Michael House set a personal record. This meet in the 5,000 meter, he finished in 15 minutes 36 seconds, good for 9th place. For the second straight meet, Sanaa Washington set a personal record in the women's 200 meter dash. Her time of 25.05 seconds was a good enough for the 6th place. In the men's 200 meter dash, Cameron Horton took home first with a mark of 21.19, which stands as number 96 in all of the NCAA Division I. In the women's pole vault, Sophia Roskowski matched her career best mark, taking 2nd place in the event. Her mark of 3.97 meters stands as the 3rd best in WKU history in the men's pole vault. Caleb Joyce became the 19th and final Hilltopper to set a personal record in their respective events with a mark of 4.67 in the vault.
Yeah, a lot of track and field news. That was definitely a mouthful for you there, man. 20 Hilltoppers setting personal records. Just a lot of good stuff. Track and field is always you're kind of competing against yourself. You're competing against your previous run, throw, jump, whatever event and discipline that you compete in. And when you have 20 athletes setting personal records, that's really good. And we're early into the season. As we get closer to Conference USA meet and hopefully NCAA regionals and nationals, hopefully we have a couple of these athletes that make a little noise and put their name in that hat and win a conference championship and maybe go to an NCAA meet. So congratulations to all of those Hilltoppers. And as always, the full results of that Bulldog Invite can be found on WKUsports.com.
And that concludes this week's Red Towel Wrap-Up. Moff, back to you.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good news, information, players of the week, some weather delays in there, and probably more coming up from what I hear. If you watch Twitter, there's still some weather delays going on with the snow we've had over the last couple of days. But we've got to get back in the saddle and talk about this past weekend's home game. We had our rematch with MTSU for the 100 Miles of Hate. As of game time, it was raining and flooding across Bowling Green and the surrounding counties. We know a lot of people were affected by that, whether it was, being able to travel to or from work, school, basketball games, etc. But we hope everyone stays safe in that environment. And, hopefully are coming out of that now, even though now we've seen freezing and snow. But for what it was, man, it was still a really good crowd, a really good environment. Unfortunately, WKU fell to MTSU. We lost the game 87-77. The loss dropped WKU to 14-11 overall, and we're now 5-7 in Conference USA play. Like I said, the crowd was electric, man. Even though it wasn't, pushing a sellout by any means, it was our best crowd of the year since the Wichita State game. There were 4,647 people in attendance. It just looked really good in the arena. Obviously, you and I were there. We had our friend Jeremiah Flincham from the Liberty fan base who lives down in Nashville. He came up for the game. And then our friends over at the SSN MTSU account, if you follow them on Twitter, they came up to the game as well and sat in the media row with us and took it in. I think that was their first ever game at Diddle Arena. So, I'm glad they got to see a good environment, a good, attendance for the game, and a pretty good game in itself, especially for them. They won the game. So that obviously made the drive home a little easier for them. Now, when the game started, it started with a Jalen counter and Don McHenry heat check battle. And then ultimately, Isam Mustafa and MTSU proved too much as they were able to pull away with the early second half run and get that victory. But Tyler, what are your overall thoughts on just, I guess, everything surrounding the game, the weather, the crowd, the game itself, and just how it played out? It was pretty fun and exciting, even though we took a loss. But what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, I was kind of worried that the flooding in the surrounding areas may keep some people home from the game, and if it did, I understand completely. Turn around, don't drown. But the people who did come, the game was the fans was loud. The fans got into it, especially when Jalen Jackson and Coach was over there trying to get people into it. Telling everybody to get up. And the fans was outstanding. It seemed like there was more than just 4,000 something. But yeah, I mean, Isam Mustafa, he came in ready to play, and he played awesome. I still don't like him, but you got to give the man his due whenever he comes in and drops a double on you. And then I think our defense kind of held counter. He had 18 points in the first 10 minutes, but after that, I mean, he really didn't light it up afterwards, the best that I remember. But I mean, this was another. It may not be good for us, but in the long run, I think this was another good entry into the annuals of the 100 Miles of Hate rivalry.
Yeah, it definitely was. And honestly, WKU played well enough to win this ball game. We played at our pace. We just didn't hit enough shots. And I don't know if any of the listeners are familiar with our 247 message board, but if you aren't, there's a post over there named Ezekiel that posts the post-game efficiency breakdowns for every single game that we play. And he's been doing that since the Hilltopper Haven message board days. And now he does it over there on the 247 slice. But it's an excellent statistical breakdown of the game and just how the pace was, the shot making, the rebounding percentages, and just all the things that we were doing. We had a really good game metrically, statistically, like the 105 pace and efficiency that we had. We would have won, I think, every game but 4 this season at that efficiency that we had. So as good a game as we had, MTSU was just a little bit better. And if you saw Coach Plona in the post game, is every time we threw a punch at MTSU and made a run to get back in the game or take a small lead or close the gap, MTSU made clutch shots, or they got a good stop, or they punched back every single time. So it was everything that a rivalry game should be. Coming into that game, we're the 8th place team, they're tied for a second, and we said in the preview, man, you got to throw the records and the statistics away, because in this game anything could happen. And it was a game where anything did happen. Jalen Counter came out, like you said, he had 18 points in the first 10 minutes. I think he finished with 22, 24. So, the last 30 minutes of the game, he didn't do anything, but they had Mustafa stepped up. Cam Weston made some shots. Justin Porter got going late, kind of helped push him to the finish line. It was just everything that a rivalry game should have been. And that starts kind of with the attendance, like you said, 4,600 people there. And I'm sure there were several that didn't make the trip because of the flooding, just because of the uncertainty. And there was another wave of storms scheduled to hit kind of right as the game was ending. But still a great environment. And I hope that continues this week when we talk about our next upcoming home games. But looking at our stat leaders for the game, Don McHenry was our leading scorer. He had 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. Christian Lander had 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists. Man, he was so close to getting that elusive guard double-double, man. 1 rebound away. But definitely good game for Christian. Then Enoch Colombe had 14 points and 3 rebounds. And Braxton Bayless rounded out our scores in double digits with 11 points and 3 rebounds. And then I have to give some praise and some shine to Blaze Keita, because he came in the game and gave us 10 rebounds, which was huge. If I recall correctly, 6 of those rebounds were offensive. So, man, that, as he's getting comfortable, kind of settling into a role, we kind of know what to expect from him. We're not going to get 10, 12, 14 points from him on the offensive end. But, if we're getting 10 rebounds and 6 offensive rebounds a game from him, that's a pretty good contribution. Him and Leroy have definitely stepped up. And, if that continues and, we just continue to see more output from them. And then who knows if Baba or Julius happen to get healthy and come back, both of those seem unlikely at this point. But if one of them does come back and just adds to this roster, all of a sudden I'll like our chances in Huntsville. Right now I'd say any game and every game we play is going to be a coin flip, looking at, expecting to win or lose, whatever. Even looking at our last 6 games of the season, but the same will be said in Huntsville, with the current roster and just how much parity there is in Conference USA. It's going to be a coin flip, and to win that coin flip, 4 games in a row will be tough in Huntsville. Just make no bones about it. It is what it is. It's a tough conference. But really excited for what all these guys are doing and contributing, especially Blaze and Leroy, really stepping up and starting to put some good stats together. Speaking of stats, looking at the team stats for the game, WKU shot 38% from the floor, while MTSU shot 44.3%. To me, that's kind of the story of the game right there. We did enough to get the win, but we've seen over the course of the season that whenever we're shooting mid 40s or below percentage, we're typically losing. When we went on a 3-game winning streak recently, we were shooting close to 50% every game or higher. So when you're not making shots, again, basketball 101, it is what it is. You can't score enough points to win the game. 3-point percentage, we were 28.6 for the game. MTSU was 31%. From the free throw line, we had a rough day. We were 9 out of 17, which is good for 52.9%. MTSU was 16 out of 22, which is good for 72.7%. On the rebounds, WKU had 49, MTSU had 50, so right there. But 21 of our rebounds were offensive. And while that's a great stat, and Coach Plona talked about this in the postgame, that's a great stat. But instead of offensive rebounds, he would have rather had some made shots. This deficit and this gap, this loss looks a little different if we have fewer offensive rebounds because we made more shots, not gave up defensive rebounds. So great that we're competing. We've long said that that's an effort stat and a hustle stat, but definitely tough to swallow that. We put ourselves right there, but just couldn't get it done. Blocks for the game, WKU had 3, MTSU had 6. Turnovers, both teams were pretty clean. WKU had 9, MTSU had 6. And then points off turnovers, this was another one that was just kind of eye-opening when I saw it after the game. Points off turnovers, WKU had 0 on the 6 MTSU turnovers, while MTSU had 19 points off of the 9 WKU turnovers. So again, kind of another stat that you can circle right there, right with the field goal percentage that, when we were turning the ball over, it was live ball turnovers going the other way, leading to points for MTSU more times than not. And, that was enough for them to win the game, point blank period. Tyler, before we jump into grades for the game, what are your thoughts on the stats and just how the game played out?
Well, I ain't gonna lie. Earlier in that night, I told you, I said Chris Landers on double watch because dude had the points and he was getting them rebounds. and sadly, it just didn't come to fruition. But man, Blaze getting 10, that's big. That's one thing that every team needs kind of a trash guy, right? You don't make the pretty plays. You get you pick up the plays that have to be made, that have to be done. And if Blaze and Leroy can be that guy, be the man, just kind of packs his lunchbox and let's go to the office, and just gets the job done on the rebound, on the boards, try to get us a second chance, or get it, pass it out to the outlet dude, and then on to the fast break. I'm here for it. Don did Don things. But yeah, that blocks, Asom, it seems like the guards was just trying to go in there and get a foul. But man, he's just a clever shot blocker, and he's a clever post player. The guys would kind of go in there and jump into him, and he just kind of back out the way and then just block the shot. And then that points off turnovers. It is kind of crazy that we had 0 whenever we were known for kind of that high tempo, kind of chaos type defense in basketball, that we get 0 points off of turnovers.
Yeah, let's jump straight into some grades and put this game behind us. So what do you have your grade for the offense versus MTSU?
I mean, our offense played great enough to win, dude. I mean, 38% from the field, 28.6% from the threes. MTSU only hit one more 3-pointer than us. We were 8-28. They were 9-29. So both teams didn't shoot the 3 ball exceptionally good. Really just that free throw, man, that free throw percentage was terrible. I'll give the offense a C.
I'm gonna be only slightly nicer. I'm gonna give him a B. Yeah, obviously the percentage, 38% is lower than what you want to see, but took good shots, just weren't making them. It is, we've seen games where we filled it up. UTEP and New Mexico State, we couldn't miss. I like the offense that we're running. Guys aren't forcing shots. We're seeing good, assist numbers on the season now, compared to where we were earlier in the season. So, man, offense, it just sometimes you don't make shots, and some credit has to go to MTSU for playing good defense for sure. What about your grade for the defense versus MTSU?
So defense, we did lose a rebounding battle by 1 rebound, so it's pretty much even. They did get 15 offensive rebounds though, but hey, at least we got, as you said earlier, we got 21 of them, so I'll take that. But Esom, man, he was just, we did not have an answer for him. He had 21 points, 11 rebounds. I'm sorry, 16 rebounds. And that by himself is like I said, you got to tip your hat to him, because he came in, he played awesome that night. I'll give the D I'll give him. I'm going to be a little bit mean. Maybe it's a fluke, but I'll give the defense a D.
Woo! I'm going to go with the C. I think we did good enough to win this game. Obviously, Jalen Counter starting this game off hot. 18 points in the first 10 minutes. That's a good 40-minute game, and he did it in the first 10 minutes. It was tough. He was making shots, and then as he kind of cooled off and came back down to earth, we saw Porter, Weston, Mustafa, just other guys step up and made shots. It is what it is. So I'm gonna give the defense a C. I like the effort. I like the intensity. But sometimes it just comes down to getting more stops, and we just weren't there. What about your grade for coaching versus MTSU?
Coaching, he tried to, he would call timeout, try to stop a run when MTSU went on it, but they're in the second half. I mean, MTSU's that gap between them and Western just kept getting wider and wider. But I like the way Coach called the game. I feel like if things would have went more our way, if some of them refs weren't so stupid, and Esom did foul some people, but they would not call it. I don't mean to blame the refs, but it is what it is. I'll give coaching a B on it.
how many times did I tweet out, just because you fall down doesn't mean it's a foul? 3 times, I think, man. We're not grading the refs, but if we did grade the refs, I know what I got for them. Wasn't great. But yeah, coaching wise, man, I love everything that Coach Plone is doing. I think he has navigated this team and the roster and the injuries very well. I think the effort and the intensity, substitutions, even only running, eight players out at a time sometimes. He's done a great job. And it's crazy to think how good we could be if we were healthy. Nothing would guarantee we'd be winning all these ball games, but man, some of these close losses, you're like, gosh, a Baba or a Julius or a Teagan, we've got to be 5 to 10 points better a game, right? And especially defensively with Baba in the paint. So, coaching wise, Coach Plona, until we throw up a clunker of a game, which we haven't seen in a while, Coach Plona gets an A for me. He's doing an outstanding job. What about your grade for the fans that made it to this flooding downpour game at MTSU?
Like I said, the fans earlier, the fans were amazing. It seemed like more than 4,600 people. And I mean, it was great to have that type of rowdy feeling back in Diddle. Because it seemed like sometimes this season it just weren't there. Either the fans wasn't showing up or the fans weren't coming. But this game, the fans did showed up, and I do hope they show up this week for the La Tech and Sam Houston game. But I'll give the fans an A in this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna give an A as well. Obviously, we'll say every game, we'd love to see 7,800 people there. But given the variables of the weather, etc., going on that night, 4,600 was pretty impressive. I'm sure there are plenty that couldn't make it because of the weather or the uncertainty of the weather and flooding, etc. But the fans over there were loud. They were engaged. It was great to see. And, it's one of those games where you hate to have that great a crowd and then lose it, because it's going to take away momentum from, hopefully these next couple home games. Obviously, we hope that doesn't happen. We hope 4,600 plus show up again. But man, you have to give the fans an A. They showed up, they were loud, and it was great to see. What about your overall grade versus MTSU?
Oh gosh. Let's see. I guess it's going to have to even out because my grades differ from a D to an A. So I guess I'll let them kind of smooth themselves out, and it'll be a C plus B minus for me.
I'm gonna give them a B. Again, I think this game and this effort beats probably anyone except for Jacksonville, Middle, and maybe Liberty. In this conference, I think we can beat almost anybody in the conference with the performance that we had this past Saturday. But we played Middle, and they played just a little bit better. It kind of is what it is. It's behind us. It's over, and now we get to talk about our upcoming home games as our homestand does continue. We play this Thursday, which is today as we record. We're recording just after noon, and the game is at 8 p.m. tonight. The game is on ESPNU. The game is a blackout game, so the team will be wearing black. The fans, if you're hearing this, if you're seeing it on social media, wear black, not red, not white, surely to God, not blue. Put on your best black and show up to the game. WKU does have a snow day ticket special that has been announced. They're selling the lower bowl tickets for $10 and the upper level tickets for $5. So hopefully that's a great way to, get people on the fence about ticket prices and coming and being in attendance. Hopefully get them off the fence and get them into the arena. It'll be nice and warm and no snow inside of Diddle Arena. I can promise that. WKU does enter the game with a record of 14-11, like I mentioned earlier, 5-7 in conference play. We most recently lost to MTSU, while Sam Houston is at 10-16 overall. They are 3-10 in conference play, and they most recently beat Jacksonville State and Kennesaw State. And we know that's that's a tough swing there. We recently lost to both of those teams, so coming into those games, they only had one conference win, and to get those two is pretty impressive for Sam Houston. So, who knows? The parity in this league is crazy. The two teams we previously played on January 25th, with WKU winning 75-66. The ESPN matchup predictor favors WKU with a 69.2% chance of winning to 30.8 for Sam Houston. The betting line opened at WKU minus 3.5, so slight favorite with an over-under of 153.5. If you're into that sort of thing, Tyler, I know you are. The leading scorer for Sam Houston is Lamar Wilkerson. Familiar name and face. He's averaging 19.7 points per game. Their leading rebounder is Khalifa Sacco. He's averaging 6.3 rebounds per game. And their leading passer is Marcus Boykin, averaging 5 assists per game. Tyler, what are your thoughts on the rematch and kind of the suddenly hot Sam Houston Bearcats?
Whoa. Sorry about that. Color me surprised. I did not see them coming back from beating Jacksonville State and Kennesaw State. Sam Houston, to me, they just never really been much of a threat. But hey, they are getting hot at the good time of the year. So I think this is going to be this will be another good battle because they're going to want revenge for us beating them at their place. And with them being on fire and kind of coming in hot, that's what they're gunning for. Now the over and under, I've been burnt by taking the over on Western a lot this year. Seems like later on they've been, and this is not betting advice for anybody. I would not do that to y'all. I'm probably going to take the under on it though. But I feel like this will be a great game. I feel like Western. I feel like coach is going to want the team to start hitting their licks as well, and this would be a great time to start it off brand new.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle, that's for sure. I just hope that some of that crowd, some of that 4,600 braves the snow. Hopefully, wherever you live, it's clear. I know the main roads for the part are clear. So if you can get to a main road from wherever you live, you can get to the arena. We're going to get you there, have a good ball game, and get you home safely, hopefully. But then this Saturday on February 22nd, we host Louisiana Tech. That game is at 7 p.m. The game is on ESPN Plus. Louisiana Tech currently is 17-9 on the season. They are 6-7 in conference play, and they lost their road swing to Kennesaw State and Jacksonville State. So whereas Sam Houston just beat both of those, Louisiana Tech just lost both of those teams. It's a tough league, man. Anybody can beat anybody any given day and game. We previously played Louisiana Tech on January 23rd, with Louisiana Tech winning that game 77-67, and I'm pretty sure they're still calling fouls on whoever's guarding Daniel Bacho. That was a game you couldn't lean on him, you couldn't breathe on him. They were going to send him to the free throw line, and we were going to have somebody with 4 fouls, or 3 or 4 people with 4 fouls. So that's what I'm watching out for this game, is how they call the game on Daniel Bacho. The ESPN matchup predictor favors WKU 60.4% to 39.6%. So pretty good favor to WKU. But, like we said, at home, away, it doesn't matter, man. All these games are going to be tough. They're going to be battles. The leading scorer for Louisiana Tech is Daniel Bacho, 17.9 points per game. Foul merchant, probably 10 of those coming from the free throw line. Their leading rebounder is Caden Cooper. He's averaging 7.3 rebounds per game. And then their leading passer is Sean Newman. He's averaging 8.3 assists per game, which is tops in the conference. And I think it's, at one point he was number 1 in the nation. I think he was number 2 or 3 now, but just a really solid point guard over there at Louisiana Tech. But Tyler, what are your thoughts on the Louisiana Tech matchup coming up this Saturday?
I'm kind of surprised that that ESPN matchup predictor actually favors us by that much playing at home. Because La Tech, they are a good team, and this just like Sam Houston, just like you said, every game's going to be a battle. In this, I'm not expecting this to be any different. La Tech is a school with a lot of history, so is Western. So it's going to be interesting to see how both these teams come out there on the hardwood that day and play.
Yeah, and I didn't mention it also, but it's also Titans night at the game on Saturday, so they're going to have the the Titans mascot will be there. They're going to have some drawings and giveaways for a Jeffrey Simmons autographed, merchandise. I'm not a Titans fan myself, but if you are a Titans fan, obviously I think that will help bring in more of the community and more people that are interested in that sort of thing. So pretty cool marketing that they're doing, partnering with the Titans. I don't think that hurts. I think there's a big base of Titans fans around here, dual fans with us and obviously the Titans in the pro league. So that should also be a pretty cool thing to see. Seeing Big Red and their mascot getting together on the game. I'm sure that'll be fun. Now, as always, we're going to do our keys to victory. We're just, again, like we've been doing all conference play season, we've just been lumping the two games together. So, Tyler, what's your first key to victory to beat Sam Houston and Louisiana Tech?
Well, we're going to have to own the backboards in this one. We're going to have to decisively win the rebounding battle, and we're going to have to get an ass in Daniel Batcho and get him outside the lane.
Yeah, my first one, rebounding is going to be one of mine, but my first one is going to be make some shots. I know that sounds simple, and taking good shots is the name of the game, but we've seen consistently that when we're shooting, I think our season average is like 43.9%, field goal percentage. When we're shooting that or below, the odds really go down that we're winning that ball game. We've seen when we're shooting 45% plus, just making more of our shots, taking better shots, whatever it is, we're winning more of those games. And that seems so basic. 101, make shots, win games, make the basket, score the points. But just looking at a big picture, like we have to shoot better than 38, 40, 42% from the field to have any chance of beating either one of these teams because they're both tough. Now, what's your second key to victory?
Make the extra pass. Whenever we was on like the New Mexico State game, and on that winning streak, it just seemed like the players were making that extra pass and getting a shot, either a 3-point shot or whatever, sitting there ready for it instead of having to dribble, then throw up a half-hearted shot. So we need to make the extra pass and swing the ball and get it to an open dude.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to your first key to victory. I'm going to go with rebounding. I think, both of these teams, and Sam Houston with Sacco, and then Louisiana Tech with Cooper and Batcho, they are both physical teams that can beat you on the glass if you're not continuing to be aggressive and competitive there. So I think we have to, again, it's another trend to this season. Whenever we're competitive rebounding the ball, that margin is close or in our favor, we're right there and able to win the game. But if it's lopsided, if it's a 5 to 10 plus disparity in rebounds, it's not going to be close. They're going to get up more shots than us, and that's, just favoring them to win that ball game. So we have to be competitive on the glass. What is your third key to victory?
Well, it'd be nice if we could get Batcho and the Sam Houston Center both into foul trouble. But mine would be aggressive and get to the free throw line, or at least get to the free throw line. I mean, it's good if you can score when the clock is stopped, but if you can get there and get pressure on the other team's big men, then that's just a win-win situation for everybody. So I guess be aggressive and get to the free throw line.
Yeah, mine's kind of right there in the same vein as yours. I think and it's for a different reason. I think we have to be aggressive and drive to the hole to try to get easier shots. That's typically what they are. If you're in the lane, it's hopefully a higher percentage shot. But like you said, it could turn into foul trouble, free throws. And then the other side of that coin is if the paint and the defense collapses, then it can turn into a kick out 3-pointer, which is a catch and shoot shot, which is a much, much higher percentage shot of going in, than one of our guards, somebody trying to create off the dribble, off a screen, whatever it is. So, but I think we have to be aggressive. I would love to see Daniel Batcho have a cold welcome to Ditto Arena and sit early in the first half with 2 fouls, and then the same in the second half with 4 fouls. I think we have to drive at him and just be aggressive. Every single guard, everybody we have can get downhill and can hurt you. So I hope we do that in both of these games. Tyler, who have you got for your MBT for this weekend's games, Thursday and Saturday?
All right, so typically I go Woo Marshall. I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to go with Christian Lander in this one. Boy's been playing good the last few weeks. He's been putting up numbers. He's been getting rebounds. He's just been playing aggressive, and so I'm going to ride with Christian Lander.
Yeah, I'm switching it up too, and mine's for a different reason. Mine is gonna be Tyrone Marshall, and it's for two reasons. One, he just had a not great game versus Middle Tennessee. Call it what it is. He was 1 of 10 from the field. Not your typical Tyrone Marshall game, which we've seen from him, over the last 5-10 games of the season or the last year and a half. He's been really solid for us as a contributor. But coming off a 1-10 game, still back at home for the next two games, and one of those games is a Titans game. He's from Nashville. He's a Titans fan. I think Tyrone going to show up with a little bit of extra pep in his step, a little bit more juice to him. His family will obviously be there and be at the game. So I'm expecting Tyrone Marshall to bounce back and be that contributing X factor matchup problem. If he starts getting downhill, getting in the paint, getting some easy baskets, and then those 3-pointers start opening up, man, I'd love to see it. And I think he can be that X factor and help lead us to a couple big wins this week. Tyler, what have you got for your score predictions versus Sam Houston and Louisiana Tech?
Oh, shoot. So I'm guessing against Sam Houston, I'm going to go with 81-69. Nice. Tops win, you win. You want me to do the La Tech game too? All right, and then La Tech, since we are playing at home, I still think Top's going to win that one. But it will be to a score of 77-72. So we win by 5.
Hey, Tops win, you win, we lit, baby. So Sam Houston, I've got us winning that game 78-72. So what's that, 150? So take the under, 153.5, I think I said. And then the Louisiana Tech game, I'm going to have that one going 82-74. And obviously we don't know what the betting lines on that one will be, but I think we're going to get it. I think we're going to get the offense flowing. I think we owe them one, and I think it's time to get them back one and finish this homestand strong. Get back to even in conference play before we go back on the road and then finish at home for the last 2 games of the regular season. So real excited for it. Obviously basketball season continuing. I love it. We've got a bunch of spring sports going right now, which keeps that Red Tail wrap up full of information and news and results, which is always fun. And then we've got, the spring football schedule should be announced any day. I think it was announced last year on the last day of February. So we'll know what the, spring practice schedule and the spring game, the date of that, even though we've already put that out on social media unofficially. I think we think that's going to be April 12th, if I recall correctly, just off the top of my head. But really looking forward to it. Obviously with spring sports going, baseball, softball, golf now starting back up. Hopefully this cold and snow and the flu and the sickness and everything that's plagued everybody, both of our families, probably everyone has been sick at some point. But I think we're all ready for some warmer weather, some sunshine, some 80 degrees. You and I taking the tops and doors off the Jeep. So I think we're ready for all of that stuff and what the spring and warm weather brings. So looking forward to a couple good basketball games starting tonight at 8 p.m. and then obviously this Saturday versus Louisiana Tech. But Tyler, hit us with your final words and take us on out.
Yeah, so I don't think I'll be able to be there for tonight's game at all, but I'll be there in spirit. Let's go Tops. Let's kick some ass. Sam Houston ain't nothing. La Tech is dog water. But always go out and support the other teams that is going on, spring sports, spring activities, spring sports. Those players do put their heart and soul into each of their respective sports, and it is nice to see them get recognized. Like me and my wife, we've been watching softball. We've been trying to go softball more. We went to some of their fall ball games, but we're going to try to make some of these spring games this year. And I tell you, it's awesome. It's a good time. But with that said, I'm going to get out of here before this flu knocks me down anymore. Moth, who has a brother than us, dog?
Hey, nobody, buddy. You know it.
Go Tops.
Go Tops. Later, guys.
See you.